Dr. Anthony Fellow. Dr. Fellow is highly known for his passion in politics, and we are privileged to have him in the studio earlier today. Take a look at what he had to share. Now we have Cal State Fullerton's political communication professor, Dr. Anthony Fellow. Thank you for joining us and welcome to the show.
Oh, it's my pleasure to be here.
As you know, this political election has caused a lot of media noise. Why do you think that is?
I think this is a rip-roaring election. I think it's the most exciting election of my lifetime, and I covered politics for 10 years. And it's because we have an opportunity perhaps to see the first woman being elected president of the United States. We have a socialist running against this woman in the Democratic Party. And on the Republican Party, we had 17 candidates at first, and they were ethnically diverse, gender diverse, and that was exciting. And we have a candidate, Donald Trump, who really sucks the oxygen out of the room because he is a celebrity and has a lot to say, and he's captured the attention of the public.
Dr. Fellow, would you say that you have a favorite candidate?
I do. I have some candidates that I do not want to see in the presidency at all. One candidate in particular, but I've been I admire Hillary Clinton. I admired her, and I supported her heavily in 2008. I think she was the most prepared candidate. And my wife, I don't know if you know, she was Bill Clinton's press secretary in California during his campaign. So we are kind of tied to the Clinton camp. But I find Donald Trump very interesting, very exciting, and he's made this race tremendously interesting.
As a professor with experience in journalism and politics, what advice would you give millennials that are preparing for elections like the one we're having today?
You know, I'm a weird duck when I walk into a classroom and teach politics. I've taught in political science here and in communications. I have a background in politics, and my doctoral degree was the first dealing with the computer use in campaigns. And I've been elected to 3 separate offices, and I'd like to see millennials get more involved. I tell my students, it's time for you to run. And we just had a very young man, 23 years old, run, I think, for a city council race in the Orange County area. And because it's their future, it's their world. Interestingly, we have 70-year-olds running for president this year, which is fine because they have the experience. But I wish millennials would read more. I wish they would read more newspapers. They get their news from Yahoo, I think. But, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk today about is that I'm very disappointed in the news media, the way this race has been covered. I think it's abysmal, the way CNN has covered this race and Fox News, because I finally turned off Fox and CNN. I just turn it on, and here's the A-team of experts, and then the CNN, here's our political experts, and it's just 24 hours, and my mind was just spinning. And I don't think they knew anything what they were talking about. And I call that speculative journalism. They're speculating on who's going to win, how many delegates this one's going to get. And then I got really upset with Britt Hume the other day. O'Reilly was interviewing him, and he comes out and he says, "Oh, Donald Trump's an idiot." That's not the role of a journalist. And this is a man who's supposed to be objective. But this week I had to go back for one of my classes, and I was looking at the Clinton administration, and during Ruth Bader Ginsburg's appointment to the Supreme Court by President Clinton, there was Britt Hume in the front row debating the president about her qualifications. And Clinton got the most upset I've ever seen him and really put him down. So I'm thinking maybe Britt Hume needs some work. You know?
Maybe. So with your experience in the industry, what would you say is a major difference between the 1980s to today's media and how the media is being reported?
I think that's a good question. I think when we look back, even if we look at Vietnam, you know, reporters went to Vietnam and they interviewed the generals, they interviewed soldiers. Then when we came to Iraq, here the journalists became basically the star, and they talked themselves. And I was aghast when I saw Erin Moriarty of CBS News in Iraq with a gas mask on reporting. And I thought that's foolishness, because Edward R. Murrow covered World War II. Bombs are dropping. He never went into a bunker. And Megyn Kelly I have some problems with. I think she'd like to be the story the next day and try to trump up these candidates. And that's not the role of a journalist. It is for an opinion writer, but not for a journalist covering an election.
Yeah, I agree. I can see that happening in today's reporting. So, Dr. Fellow, I did just want to mention that somebody has told me that you have exciting news for the Cal State Fullerton community.
Well,
would you like to share that with us?
You know, I really have a passion for politics, and I love teaching politics and teaching history. I'm thinking with my political background, I'm thinking of running for the United States Congress.
Wow,
in 2
well,
years.
congratulations. Wow, congratulations. What led you to that decision?
Well, you know, I got involved in politics after 10 years because I was interviewing a potential congressional candidate one day, and after he talked to me, I thought, man, I know more than this guy. And I think things need to be changed in Washington. I just would like to be part of that change. I think when you get elected to office, you have to not stop thinking about the people who elected you. Every time there's a tax measure, I'm always thinking my parents are paying for that too. And you have to keep the public in mind. And I think Washington is aloof to a lot of the problems of the common day person. And they're not working very hard, to be honest. They're in session very little. I do have a great respect for people like Dianne Feinstein, our U.S. Senator from California. I've worked closely with her, and she's just put her heart and soul into a Western water bill to make sure Southern California has water. And I don't think she's appreciated because of her efforts there. But she's someone, if she announced for president today, I would work full time for her. I think she's an outstanding politician and an outstanding human being. And if we can get more people like that in office, it would be great. And these are people our students, young people getting into politics should try to emulate.
Right, I agree. Well, I am very confident that you will have all of the support from the Cal State Fullerton community. And that will do it for us. I do want to thank you, Dr. Fellow, for your time here with us. It was a pleasure.
Nice to meet you.